What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be watching m0nesy from IEM Dallas. This is the grand final match. This is the match that kind of secured that he was going to get the MVP this game. It was mainly him and Nico that were sharing the carrying through this whole event, but m0nesy has pretty much been consistently just god tier this entire event. And him showing up in the grand final like this definitely just secured that he was going to get the MVP. And mainly what I want to look at through this demo is I want to let you guys know why m0nesy does a lot of the stuff that he does. I do have a past competing, so I can give some insight as to how he thinks, what he's going to be reacting with, the comms inside the game. But let's get right into the pistol round. So as the top silo guy, since he's throwing the silo nades, this means he's going to be the last player into lobby. And because he's the last player into lobby, this means that he's going to be the guy who's holding flank, which you'll see he does here. He kind of supports helping out over at A. He gets the kill on Heaven. The rest of his team gets the kills on site. Now he expects that the rest of the players alive are not going to be the A players because look where his team is. His team is all over the A site. This guy Heaven was trying to fight out, help his teammates. But now that these kills have gone down, m0nesy can kind of just focus on lobby now. He doesn't really have to do too much. And yeah, he can just hold the backline. He ends up coming down to site here. And see, this was a little bit of a mistake. He didn't really need to fight this. He could have stayed in hut. They could have just got bombed down, planet for mini. I think they have a mini smoke. Yeah, so this was a little bit of a mistake from m0nesy, kind of giving Vitality a way back into the round by peeking Heaven. And that is a bad peek for the T's. But for the most part, he did his job in this round. And even though he died, they're still in a 3v2. They should be able to win this round, which is exactly what ends up happening. So into the second round now, m0nesy is late to buying his nades. I don't know exactly why. I think there was probably some comms inside the game that were basically, they didn't know what they wanted to do yet. That's why he was probably AFKing in T-spawn for so long. So they're just doing a slow default here. And the reason why m0nesy is roof is because they want to have the reaction to either go late A or he's just going to, yep, lobby lurk from T-roof. And this is why staying on T-roof when you're playing a slow default, having a guy on T-roof ready at all time to throw nades is really good because it's good for faking and it's good for committing. Let's say you throw an A fake and you want to go outside, you're going to have a guy T-roof that can sell the A fake. If the CTs know that there's someone T-roof throwing nades, then it's a lot more likely that the T's are going to be going towards A. Also, something that's important to note on this round is they are lurking into mini. G2 is lurking into mini, and m0nesy is doing these nades to actually support for A on the mini wrap. So the flash that m0nesy throws pops below the silo, so it doesn't blind any of the mini players, but it will blind anyone Heaven looking towards mini, anyone backside looking towards mini, and anyone around this area that will be looking towards mini. So once his team starts getting onto site, he comes towards hut to try and trade. Now that his teammates have died, he can't really play that lobby flank holder now. It's now a 3v4, and to be able to win this round, think about it like this. One of the players on G2 have to get a 2k. So m0nesy's going to try and activate here and probably take some early fights. He gets bombed down. There's the 2 kills that G2 needed. Notice where he's planning as well. It's very safe to Heaven. Not really planted for anything, but very low chance that they're going to be playing a post plant here just because the numbers that they have. The CTs probably won't even make it into sight, so it doesn't really matter where he plants there. So into round number 3, they're breaking the glass. And Nico calls outside smokes here. So because Vitality invested in the last round, G2 generally will want to go towards outside because they know that Vitality will be on pistols, so they want to take long-range fights against them. Also, Vitality won't have any nades to disrupt these outside smokes, so crossing in them is not really, you're not really worrying about the smokes getting naded or a molly coming out. Free kill for m0nesy there. Apex just peeks with his back turned. He was just trying to catch out anyone on red, but to win the rounds like these, you kind of have to go for those little gamble plays with the deagle, or he had a P250. But yeah, you kind of have to go for those gamble plays if you want to win a round like this. So this is what you'll see m0nesy doing a lot this game and a lot in his other games. Is he's kind of like the backline holder until he needs to activate. Stewie kills a secret re-aggro. It's funny watching this in the demo because I remember watching this live and there is a second player in secret and the whole crowd was like, everyone was screaming like, keep watching it, keep watching it. Right, m0nesy support flashes because he was in the back. They get a kill on A. Again, he has bomb. And again, like the last scenario where they're in a man-up scenario, they're in a 4v1, very low chance they're going to have to play post-plant. So he can really plant anywhere here. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him plant in the same spot. He ends up planting for mini anyway because he has the space to do so, but it doesn't really matter where he plants here just because there's no way the CTs are going to be in a, 1v1 have to play bomb scenario. And again, you'll see m0nesy go back into the back lines, hold the flank, do what he normally does. Scream. So round number 4, you're going to see him breaking the glass again. And if he's the one who's breaking the glass most of the time, it means that early round, he's not really going to be active. Once we see him on the off, he might go for more aggro plays and to have someone else breaking the glass. But generally, the person who's breaking the glass is going to be the person who's in the back because his spawn doesn't matter. He doesn't need to run out of spawn to do his play. He's just going to play back, do the m0nesy thing. So Nico calls for late outside smokes. They're just going to do the normal smoke wall, it looks like. It might be top mini and deep big. I'm just going to look at this. Yep, top mini and deep big garage. And I think they were waiting for Stewie to throw a smoke here. I remember when we were watching this live, the whole crowd, every time Stewie hit a smoke, the crowd went crazy. Stewie literally spent, I think, like 15 seconds lining up a smoke, and the whole crowd was like, oh, and then it finally hit, and the whole crowd went wild off of Stewie hitting a smoke. It was so funny. Anyway, again, he's T-Roof throwing the nades, drops down, holds the flank. He has bombs, so this is kind of risky. If they do a ramp push, then this is like a free kill. The angle that m0nesy just swung to is a little too wide for my liking, because if there was a ramp push, he would be on this angle. And this would be a 1v1 they don't really want to give up, especially because m0nesy has bomb. Very, very micro, little mistake, but it could have gone really bad. This is another example. So he's a little overextended here, and look where his teammate is. His teammate can't really help here. It would probably be better if he called for his teammate to come up with him. Just because if he's going to die here, it's going to be to this angle. And this angle is not tradable from wherever his team is. So again, this is a little bit of a micro mistake, a little bit of him overextending. It would definitely be better to have this player, who I believe is Nico. Yeah, it's m0nesy actually. So it would be a lot better if m0nesy actually went up close with him. And I feel like he should have realized this once he saw m0nesy go into the smoke. Again, a very micro thing, but like how I said on the angle on ramp, if there was a player here, m0nesy wouldn't be able to be tradable. Same thing goes for door. If there was a player here, he wouldn't be tradable, and he's not. And G2 ended up losing that round because of that. So into round number 5, they're all breaking the glass. They have, I believe that is Stewie. A little bit AFK, but m0nesy was dropping smokes. And Stewie's going to do outside smokes late here, which has been in meta for a long time since the smoke dropping update came out. A lot of teams have had one player just sit in T-spawn if they want to do outside smokes late, and they'll just have that one player throw all of the smoke so that you can have 4 players close, whereas before you'd have to have 3 players throwing the smoke, you're late to the outside smokes, etc, etc. And again, you'll see m0nesy just playing around T-Roof, just chilling, just getting ready to throw those nades if his caller does call for it. So he's waiting for Stewie to throw the smokes. I think this is the round where Stewie was spent like 20 seconds lining him up. Because, I mean, look at what control the T's have right now. They don't really have anyone outside. So they don't have info on outside. They haven't cleared it yet. I don't even think they've cleared Africa. They don't have anyone holding towards ramp. And they haven't done anything over at A. So on paper, G2 should really lose this round just because of how long it took for them to start their round. But something that's also really important is look at Vitality's utility. They have no smokes. So that means that if any A exec or any A pop comes out, there's no smokes for the mollies. There's no smokes to smoke the T's off. And m0nesy's just going to throw the same exact util that he threw before. Spinks triples up from top hut. Yeah. So again, they should have really won that round. I think it was just Spinks just got a 3K and no one really traded. Kind of hard to deal with a top hut guy when you're doing a hut pop just because there's so many ways that the top hut player could peek out, then crouch back down. So now he's not tradable, switch positions, peek out again. And although he's switching positions by like a small margin, because it is still a headshot angle, it's still good for the CT. So if he doesn't get insta-traded on top hut, there's a high likelihood that top hut player still gets another kill. So this round, m0nesy just buys the Zeus, and he ends up going for a little mini drop play. So he sees the guy mini. Mini throws a nade. He ducks from the nade damage. Mini isn't peeking anymore, which means this mini player probably went back into mini. And he actually went towards credit, but here is the mini player. So close. The crowd was crazy on that play. I remember this. So close. But yeah, this is pretty easy for the rest of Vitality. And yeah, now it's 3-3. And think of the rounds that have gone on. m0nesy hasn't really like taken over the game. So look at his KD right now. He's 5-4, but he hasn't done, you know, any opening picks. He hasn't had that op yet. He's kind of just playing the back, playing support, and he's still not going to get an op on this round. And this could be a product of G2 not saving for him to have an op, or him just preferring not to op on T side. You won't always see oppers by ops. It really is depending on the map. So two players push into hut. m0nesy hears them. I think that's a little too aggressive going for that peek. It's not too bad because think of it from his perspective. If they push through door as well, right, he's just going to get crunched. He has to look at two angles at once. So the thought process behind him peeking this is if he kills the hut player, he can actually go into hut, and now he can play the lobby push from hut, which is something the CTs don't really want, because that means m0nesy can go out on A, he can isolate all these fights on these angles. There's a lot of different things that can happen if m0nesy gets into hut. That's his thought process behind him doing this. It's not necessarily good to take the fight like that, but if you are going to win a lobby crunch when you're getting crunched from multiple angles, you need to take one of the spaces in lobby and try and play the lobby crunch from there. And by doing that, it means you need to get the kill where you're going. In this case, he didn't. So G2 ended up saving that round, and now they're on a pistol buy. And it looks like they're just going to go for the normal outside smokes like they normally do. And because they're throwing it off the rip, since they're throwing it from spawn, they don't need to drop all the smokes to one player. They can just have all three players do it at once, because if they're going to throw the smokes early, just do it all at once. Doesn't really matter. You don't need to drop the smokes to other players. You don't need the space early if you're going to go for an A-pop anyway, which is exactly what they're doing. Notice how he switched up what he's mauling. He's mauling top hut now. So this is something you'll see pro teams do a lot as well, is they'll switch up the A execs that get mollied. So they'll switch up, you know, mauling top hut, mauling back silo, you know, mauling Asian vent. And this creates a lot of uncertainty for the CTs who are playing on A. I played my whole career as an A player, and whenever I'd play a team that had, you know, 4 or 5 A executes, I'd be very uneasy in my spots, because essentially what this means is there's only 3 spots where you can be that you can really multi-frag from. If you're playing back silo and back silo gets mollied and double flashed, you need to drop a smoke and play in the smoke, wait till you get unblind and peek out, right? That's pretty much your only play from back silo. You can't fight behind a molly while you're getting flashed, which means that if the T's know that you're doing that, you're going to smoke the molly, you're going to play around it, or if you don't, you're going to be blind. They're going to hard clear Tetris. They're going to hard clear top hut. They're going to hard clear everything else that is not blind. So this basically, as a CT, creates some uncertainty as to where you should play, what the T's are going to be clearing, and doesn't give any reads as to where you should play on A, because you need to constantly switch up where you're playing based on what the T's are doing on their execute. So top hut molly, silo flashes, and it looks like G2 actually went out before the silo flashes came out. m0nesy's top hut molly also spread down into front hut, which actually killed Hunter there. But so I'm going to watch this back actually and look at Spinx's POV. So I'm pretty sure G2 went out too early there. Where's Spinx? Here's Spinx. So he's silent drops back down silo. Gets a nade, perfect nade on hut. Perfect nade on hut. All right, so look at the flashes. The flash just went off and Spinx was able to get 1 kill, but he really got 2 because Zywoo kind of supported, and from heaven, Spinx would have got 2 anyway. It's tough going out hut on an A execute because you want to be able to be going out of hut in this area as the flashes are going off so that you can actually use the flash time while they're blind. If you start your execute as the flash goes off, let's say flash goes off now, you start going out. By the time you get here, the CT is going to be unblind. So you want to try and take this gap before the flash goes off and kind of just pray that he's not peeking. It's unlucky it happened here. And there's some flashes you can do to, you know, fix this gap in your A executes, but they're on eco, so they're kind of just hoping that there wouldn't be a guy holding hut and they could potentially catch a timing. So m0nesy's going quick outside here along with 2 other players. And it looks like they're kind of expecting an aggro from Vitality. And this is also really important too, because G2 haven't done too much heavy outside stuff. Yes, they did it on anti-eco when the other team had pistols, but they haven't committed like, 3 or 4 riflers to wrap CT or get down secret yet on a gun round. And the only time that they did that was when they were splitting towards A and they had someone T-roof throwing nades. So this is kind of a switch up call from Nico to kind of do something they haven't done yet and give a question mark to Vitality as to if they could be down secret, if they could be wrapping CT. They haven't done it yet, so, add some question marks from Vitality's side. Perfect switch up. They throw the close smoke outside like they've done every single time. After they do the close smoke, this is when they would be doing the late smoke. So they switch it up on Vitality. Again, leave those question marks that I was talking about. ZywOo wasn't really ready for this. At best case scenario, ZywOo gets 1 and gets traded. And when you're on T side, you want to try and get into these 4v4s, because if you're in a 4v4, it means that there will always be a gap on the CT side. Because think of it like this. You're going to have 1 guy holding towards outside. You're going to have 2 A players and 1 guy ramp. There's only 1 guy ramp. Ramp is a weakness, right? You try to force out these weaknesses from the CT side, and once you get into a 4v4, I would imagine that G2 would probably go for a slowdown play and try and figure out where the 4 players are playing and try and find that gap. All right, so they take fights outside. So Vitality was actually set up for an outside hit here, which kind of blows my mind because they dry crossed outside, so G2 really should be losing this. But you have Nico and m0nesy who are just fragging out. So notice how he drops bomb. That means that he's not really going to commit to lower, and he kind of overpeaks there after Nico dies. It looked like he wanted to get the insta-trade, but think of the info that conveyed to G2. There's a guy down lower, bombs behind you. You already have a guy at like top secret. He was around mini area. If you confirm that there's a guy lower, you can have that mini guy hold the vent run up, and then you cut off the rotate from the lower guy. So let's say Flames gets that kill. m0nesy doesn't try and trade, runs back, gets bombed. Flames is going to try and go up to vent to A to try and deny them from going A. Because Flames knows that G2 knows that now A is a weakness. So m0nesy should have really tried to come back, grab bomb, double up with Hunter, and go towards A, but he overpeaked a little bit there. I think I remember this round, and I'm pretty sure Hunter won. So he just holds secret for a long time, and the reason why he held secret like that is because now he knows that Flames, I believe it's Flames, or it's m0nesy. Now he knows that m0nesy is going to be trying to play like either a rotate towards A or a very, very slow secret reaggression, which is what's happening right now. So Hunter knows that m0nesy is playing this kind of slow, which means that Hunter might actually be able to get bombed down here and not be contested whatsoever, and could potentially get into good post plant, which is what he's doing here. He crosses towards hut. m0nesy was spamming the silo, which means that he doesn't know Hunter has crossed towards hut. He might be able to assume it now, but now he spots out Hunter. He goes for the tap. Hunter sprints out, and yeah, m0nesy gets the kill. And that's a really tough scenario to be in for Hunter. It looks like he didn't really know where he planted. It looks like he thought he planted behind the silo, but he did plant for himself hut. All he had to do was check bomb and then hide, right? So this is a bit of a misplay from Hunter. He forgot where he planted. So into round number 10, and it looks like G2 are going to go for early upper pop. m0nesy throws the flash before the smoke, and this is important because if there is a player mini who's trying to fight A, he'll get flashed, he has to fall back, and then the smoke pops. You might as well throw the flash, then the smoke, because if you throw the smoke first, and they might nade the smoke, they might try and do a play behind it. You can do the smoke before the flash, but I actually feel like on a pop, the flash first is actually better. Because think of it again from the A player's perspective. If a mini smoke comes in, then you're pulling your nade out and you're ready to go, whereas if a flash comes in, you're just blind, you aren't ready for an A pop, and they end up going out A. Like I was saying earlier, you're seeing m0nesy play a lot of these backline positions. He's not really taking first contact. He's kind of just overseeing the rest of his team, making sure that they're safe, and he's just protecting them while they do the dirty work. Great spam on a mini. And now G2 are in a 4v2, so they don't really need to fight these. They don't really need to fight this. m0nesy, that was a little bit of an overpeak again because you had a 4v2. You're in an untradeable spot. So he's actually made a few mistakes here, and you can't expect every player to be perfect. And to be able to have the numbers that m0nesy puts up, yes, you're going to be expecting him to go for a lot of fights, but there's a lot of scenarios this game actually where m0nesy really shouldn't be fighting, and he's kind of just taking the fights, which, like I said, to be able to put up the numbers that he has, it is important to have confidence and, you know, feel secure in taking fights, but a lot of the fights that he's taking in these kind of guaranteed rounds are kind of unnecessary, so it's interesting to see that actually. So G2 are going to going towards outside, and I think this is the round where... No, it isn't the round. It isn't the round. Sorry, guys. So G2 are kind of going for like a slow outside here. They're just putting a little bit of pressure, not committing any numbers towards it. Close smoke goes down. Stewie throws both of the cross smokes from T-spawn. And just by the numbers on the map, it looks like G2 are going to try and go for a mini split because they have two people in lobby who they're probably going to link up with when they come mini. I wouldn't be surprised if Nexa flashes mini for the rest of the T's to go into mini, blinds any A players holding towards mini, and they just commit onto A site. So think of the last round that they did those smokes. They walked down secret. If Vitality don't have any players in secret, this becomes a question mark and may force a rotate from the ramp player to go down secret and now pick up lower. It's also important to note that I'm sure you see on the minimap that Apex is over here. No, that is not secret. That's actually back big garage, so he's holding for the mini wrap. So again, you see m0nesy in kind of these, like, you could call it baiting scenarios, but he's doing it for a reason, right? The reason why he also didn't want to force the trade on the back big garage guy is because if he commits to the back big garage fight, that means he's also being exposed to top hut. Because to be able to peek this back garage angle, you have to also be exposed to top hut. So he doesn't want to overcommit to trading Nico there. And it's a pretty good decision on his end. If he committed to this fight and kind of got tunnel visioned, then yeah, Vitality would be in a 5v3 right now. And this round would be a lot different. So m0nesy not peeking there is actually very good. He smokes big garage and walks through it. This is, I think, a great play, especially because he heard Apex run away. He also saw Apex over at that ZywOo position. And Apex is overfighting quite a bit here. I'm not sure what util he had, but he definitely could have waited and tried to delay a little bit for his team to react off of the info that m0nesy is big garage, because think of it from the CT's perspective. Because if m0nesy is in big garage and Vitality have 5 players alive, that means that there is going to be some weakness somewhere over towards lobby or over towards ramp, and they're in a really good setup right now. So I feel like Apex probably should have delayed a bit more, maybe tucked a little bit. He might have expected there to be more G2 players over towards outside, so he felt like he needed to take this fight right away. But yeah, kind of iffy on taking this fight. I'm not 100% sure if this was the play, but if he's worried about outside players, pretty much anything he does here would really be okay, whether he fights, whether he hides, anything. And something you also have to think about is Apex is in a 5v3, so even if he does die here, they're in a 4v3, which means that they should still win this round. So Nexa ends up getting kill out on A, and again, m0nesy is just playing very slow. Holding free re-aggression. Alright, now that Nexa has died, he needs to kind of activate over towards A. Hunter gets a kill, m0nesy trades, now he's in a 1v1. Oh, I remember this 1v1. As soon as ZywOo doesn't commit to the fight out hut, m0nesy knows he has time to get down vent. So he drops down. Notice how he goes double here. A lot of players go over towards single, and single kind of limits you because you're not close enough to be able to jump up on the rafters after you plant. If you go over towards single and you plant over here, you don't want to sprint out here and plant behind silo because that gives time for ZywOo to follow him down vent, and by the time you finish planting, he could open the door and kill you. So m0nesy's thought process of going double is he could plant over here, and now from ZywOo's perspective, he could have jumped up on the rafters, he could have gone dark, he could have walked over towards ramp and tried to catch a gap. He could be in a lot of scenarios here, whereas if you planted here, he could only really be back silo or along this right wall. And again, so m0nesy plants open, he gets over towards emo. And this is really important how he plays this 1v1. I remember watching this live, and I'll break it down for you guys. So basically, he goes towards emo, and ZywOo doesn't know that he's here. He hears ZywOo sprint out, and m0nesy can assume that ZywOo saw him in emo, which he did. So if this happens, he knows that ZywOo has two options. Either hold for m0nesy to re-peek, right, and jiggle out the angle, try and jiggle out where the ZywOo is, or ZywOo is going to walk up and try to clear this because he has time to do this because the bomb was just planted. So m0nesy, knowing this, knows that ZywOo will really only be in two spots. He'll either be walking up or holding, which means that in both of those scenarios, if m0nesy wide swings, this actually isn't bad because m0nesy kind of already knows where ZywOo is. He can be ready for the shot, which is exactly what ends up happening. m0nesy can't really play bomb here because ZywOo knows where he is. There isn't enough time ticked on the bomb for m0nesy to try and delay from a position like this. It's too close to where ZywOo is. ZywOo will be coming. So again, he takes the fight. Free kill, and like I said, ZywOo is either going to be walking up or he's going to be holding for the jiggles, so a wide swing isn't really in ZywOo's cards there, especially because ZywOo might have not even known that m0nesy knows that ZywOo saw him, right? There's a lot of little mind games in those scenarios, and a lot of it comes down to like subconscious. If you're a pro player and you're in that scenario, you're not thinking of all these things, it just comes naturally. It just clicks in your brain. It's 1 + 1 = 2. This is what I should do. That's exactly what m0nesy did and ended up resulting in a round. Notice how m0nesy dropped smokes there, but no one's back there to throw them. So this means that G2 is going to go for some sort of late outside fake or late outside commit. So m0nesy's going back here to throw the smokes. He's going to have Stewie throw it with him. Actually, Stewie's going to be the one throwing smokes here. m0nesy gets past the smoke to pass to Stewie. And I think this might be the round. Nope, not the round. I think we already passed the round. So Nico gets a kill on Spinks. I think he was top secret. Pretty overextended here. And again, m0nesy's just playing the back lines, just supporting the rest of his team. He gets a molly down on secret, and also something you want to think about from the CT's perspective is when you molly secret, it tells the CTs, hey, we're not going down secret right now. So when he does this, it means that they have to go A pretty much immediately, because again, look at the time, 24 seconds. You're not going to have time to wait for the secret molly and then go down secret. Vitality know this, so they're probably going to overstack over towards A, which I think is what they're in. Yeah, they are. So m0nesy actually entries here, and he does this because he's the closest to m0nesy. He doesn't have time to wait for the people to get in front of him and kind of bait them. He gets the first kill, which is a great shot. Spots out the second guy. In North America, we call this call out Sally, and doesn't... Oh, so Nico came up heaven. I think he lurked through outside, and he was just a super, super late lurk, and that's what they were working towards on A. So they mollied down secret. They waited the time down so that if there was anyone heaven or anyone Mustang, which is where I think it was m0nesy was up here. We call this Mustang. They would be thinking there's no way there's going to be a heaven lurk this late into the round because it's super, super risky to do that. If this guy up here, if m0nesy gets 2 and drops bomb over here, G2 lose this round. So all it really takes is something like, you know, let's say this Tetris guy doubled up, or let's say this Sally guy doubled up. That means that G2 pretty much lose this round. So they really, really needed to get these kills, and m0nesy didn't expect the heaven flank because of this. So in the pistol round, m0nesy got dropped a smoke, Stewie got dropped a flash, and I believe that's Hunter. Yeah, Hunter on dualies. So they're going to go for a heavy A setup here. Whenever you see dualies usually go towards top hut or close hut just because it's super easy to... Oh, that was a mistake. He shouldn't have shot there. Never mind. He's trying to shoot the vent. It looked like what he was doing is he dropped top hut immediately, and a lot of what T-pistols are is they'll sit here and they'll listen for the top hut drop. And if there's dualies top hut, it means that the CTs are generally going to be stacked towards A. That's why I thought he was shifting over here, but then he shot the vent, which tells Vitality that he's not top hut anymore. So I don't really understand this. I think it definitely should have been m0nesy or whoever's heaven to be the guy breaking vent, because Hunter kind of just griefed his positioning now. He might jump back up top hut. Not really sure how he's going to play this. But the whole point of him jumping top hut and then dropping back down was to confuse Vitality, but then he let Vitality know where he was. So that was a little weird. And Vitality are going for an A-Wrap from outside. So good smoke from m0nesy. I think it was a little too late. He still ends up getting a kill, which is just wild to me. He got insta-gush from the mini guy. I think if he threw the smoke a little earlier, then it would probably be better, but that's very hindsight. He might not have the info, obviously, that I have spectating. I can see where everyone is, but I feel like the Heaven player probably should have conveyed that they were going to try and go for some sort of A split. If some T commits over here, it's either going to be ramp 100% or A 100%, just because this guy could, you know, flank ramp, kill the ramp player who's over here. They could crunch the ramp player, and they could crunch the A player, which is exactly what they were trying to do. G2 gets the kills. They have a kit as well, so they end up winning this round. They don't even need the kit anyway. Actually, they didn't have a kit. Never mind, my bad. They got Dooley's smoke flash, but they win the round anyway, so free round for G2. So I don't think we'll see m0nesy drop into A site this round. A lot of the rounds you don't really see the Opper be the one dropping into A site unless the CTs are going for either an A stack or a lobby crunch. So generally what the Opper does when he's rifling is he'll stay around Heaven. Notice how m0nesy has a flash here. He'll flash for Nico outside. He'll, you know, rotate to A. If there's an A pop that comes in, he'll rotate to ramp. If there's a ramp pop that comes in, he's really kind of just playing to rotate here. And you can kind of see this by how he's playing. He's just floating around the map. He floated towards outside. He floated towards ramp. And now A pressure comes in, so he's floating up Heaven to support towards A. And he gets 2 kills off of it. And this is because of how fast his rotate was, right? These are all free kills for him. But because of how fast his rotate was, he was fighting Hut as the Hut players were fighting his A players. Exactly what you want as that kind of Heaven player to support the other team. Kind of, again, in a baity scenario like we saw on T side. But that is his job on this map. And if anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be m0nesy. And notice how I'm breaking down all these kills. It doesn't seem like anything crazy. He's just playing good, solid CS. And against Vitality, he is 16-9 right now. He's going to end the game, I believe it's 24-11. But just by breaking this down, you can see how none of these kills are like, he's not just a genetically better player. Like, he is really good. He is really, really good and really gifted at the game. Don't get me wrong. But none of the stuff he's doing is too crazy. If you break it down, it all really makes sense. And it's something that a lot of players could conceptualize just as long as they had these baseline understandings of how the game functions, how the games work, and what his job is in this team. This is his job. He kind of baits, but he gets frags. He has high impact because of it. Even though he's in those baity kind of roles, he does have a lot of impact because he plays these rotator spots very effectively. So he just spotted an arm red. It's a deagle. He doesn't really want to give up a free kill here. Nico ends up taking the fights. Stewie helps out from Heaven. And yeah, now it's a 4v1. They don't really have to do too much. They should pretty much never be losing this round. And yeah, free kill from m0nesy. Flames peeks out. Insta headshot. So here we go for an outside molly. Something that's also important to note, I didn't know if they were going to do it, but after you molly outside, if you have the mini player also like nade or flash or something, that tells Vitality that there's 2 players towards outside. When he threw that molly and ran towards Heaven, I thought that was going to be kind of their game plan. They fake like there's 2 outside, and then he rotates over towards A when Vitality says, yo, there's 2 outside, we should hit A or hit ramp or whatever it is. If there's 2 people outside, it will speed up whatever Vitality's plan is on inner, right? If they were going to do an A pop, they would do it now. If they were going to do a ramp pop, they were going to do it now. Nico didn't throw the second nade to try and, you know, tell Vitality. He threw it a little delayed. So it could have been one player throwing this outside stuff. Just an option, just some food for thought, but that's something you guys could also use in your matches, in your face it games, in your, you know, duo queues, trio queues, quad queues, even 5 stacks. Just cool little food for thought there. So flashes go on towards outside. And Vitality could be down secret now, which one is. This is kind of rough for G2 because a lot of Vitality could have been down. And now that m0nesy has spot 1 crossing late, if it's only 1 lurk, he probably would have timed it better with the smokes, right? So m0nesy right now is kind of assuming that there's probably 2 or 3 down lower. So I kind of want to see what his rotate is. I think the ramp player might rotate down, and then m0nesy, after he smokes door, will go towards ramp. Yep. And who is the ramp player? He didn't rotate down, but once m0nesy gets here, they might. Right, he goes for a flash to fake for pressure. And the reason why you do that flash, by the way, it's not a wasted flash, is because if Vitality are not in ramp, that flash looks like someone just re-cleared ramp, which again will speed up whatever Vitality's play is. And because there is no one aggroing ramp, if they were to speed up lower, now m0nesy's fast rotate to lower, and he's actually going to commit over towards his back box, which is still a fast rotate to lower with Hunter down as well. So Nico gets a kill outside. And I think that was the lower lurk that he killed. And because there was no trade now, notice how m0nesy shifted, right? So there's no trade on the lower guy that Nico just killed, which means that if there's no trade, there's probably not a ton of numbers lower. And especially because it's Apex, and the way that Apex calls is he does these kind of plays where he gets into lurk positions and then moves his team around. Because it's Apex and there's no trade, that probably means that Vitality are gearing up to hit something off of Apex's contact. Because on Apex's contact, you'll say, yo, there's a guy lower. We should go upper now, right? So that's kind of what's going on here. And this is what m0nesy knows, which is why he's rotating towards upper. Or shifting to a faster rotate to upper, at least. Because Nico's now up heaven. They have 3 towards A now, I believe. Nico, next is down lower. Hunter, and I skipped over someone, Stewie. So they have 3 towards upper. m0nesy doesn't need to over-rotate in case the reaction off of Apex's call was going to be ramp. He doesn't need to over-rotate towards A. He's going to play around here. And if they do end up going A, I would imagine that m0nesy might go for a lobby flank, which is what he ends up doing. But G2 just lock it down. So Zywoo now in a 1v3. And Stewie holds it down from backside. But notice how once you break it down like this, it's not, again, it's not like anything crazy. He's just playing good CS. The comms in G2 have to be good. Obviously, they're good. And he's just really playing his rotates really well here. He's having a lot of impact in a lot of, you know, kind of baity, low frag. I don't want to say low frag spots. But yeah, notice how once you break it down like this, it's not like he's doing anything crazy. He's just playing good rotates, listening to his comms, understanding what the other team is going to be trying to do off of the information that they're giving G2. And yeah, with the mechanics of m0nesy, if you understand that part of the game, it's GG. So we have a nade in towards hut from m0nesy. He spots outside. Again, he's playing heaven. He's kind of playing to like support A if they go A, support outside if they go outside. And now that Vitality has shown that they're on like Tech 9 Deagle, then m0nesy knows it's a low buy. He'll probably won't drop down into A site because against pistols, you want to play long range fights. So you'll see him around heaven. He probably won't move too much. He sees one guy go down lower. Spams on 2. Great spray. Smoking towards door. Next it takes contact on ramp. Last guy's ramp. m0nesy's just going to go for this fight. There's no reason not to. Gets the kill. Just like that. 15 seconds, he gets a 3K against Vitality. Yes, they were on pistols. But again, notice what he's doing. He's not doing anything crazy. Oh, they threw outside smoke, so I'm going to molly it and spam it. Boom, he got 2 kills. You could say that's lucky, but he controlled the spray well. He spotted one as they were crossing. Everything he's doing is pretty consistent. If you like copy paste what he's doing 1-to-1 into your game, it's not like a simple where he just hits crazy mechanical shots and like, you know, no one can stop him. m0nesy's just doing a lot of good stuff, kind of baiting his team a bit. And yeah, what he's doing here is really consistent. That's why I kind of wanted to do a demo review on him, because I don't think his gameplay is anything that's too, you know, it's not like a simple, right? What he's doing is simple. It's very easy to do. He's just very mechanically gifted and he has a good team around him. And again, like I said earlier, he's just floating around this rotate area. He's not really needed anywhere. He's just the backup, the person who's going to like support, hold his teammates back while they do stuff. So Apex kills Stewie. They got a 2K on A. This is probably going to be a save from them. Yeah, he drops down to save. Yeah, so he's not going for this round. He's going to end up saving. Gets a kill towards outside. And look at their economy as well. I wouldn't be surprised if m0nesy gets an op into this next round. Because, you know, they have the money for it. Even if he saves this AK, which he will, this is huge. The save is huge. Even though they have a ton of money, this secures their buy for the next, like, 2 rounds straight. Yeah, so m0nesy drops the AK, he gets an op, and we might see an aggro play here, and the reason why I think that is because m0nesy hasn't had an op pretty much this entire game. So Vitality is playing a weird game here where they're kind of playing the op avoidance game. They're throwing outside smokes, they're going lower, they're trying to do A-pops, they're trying to go down lower, they're trying to fight the rifles. They're really not trying to fight m0nesy, but because he has a rifle, he's putting himself in spots where he can take these fights that they're trying to take. But because m0nesy has a rifle, he's taking them. It's one extra person, one extra rifler you have to account for on the CT side rather than an opper. So it's not like a bad thing, but it's very confusing from Vitality to have to kind of switch up their game plan, which I think this was a great anti-strat from G2. I'm assuming this is something they talked about before where play more rifle because they're going to be playing to counter an op. And now that they've showed that they've been rifling pretty much this entire game, then now he can just whip out the op. Which exactly, he's going for an outside play, which he hasn't done this entire time. He hasn't shown the op yet. So he's just opping over towards red. Again, nothing too special. He's going to clear all of Africa. This is very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. If there's any outside lurk, then he could go through that smoke or up on the box and kill m0nesy. So pretty aggro, but great shot into Zaiwu. Almost great shot onto whoever that was in Hut. There was one Asian vent. He mollies to lock him into Asian vent, and he flashes under heaven. This is super important. I'm going to play this back from Nexa's POV because this kill is super, super free from Nexa. So Nexa fights out and gets one. m0nesy mollies off the Asian player, but goes to flash under Nexa. So the Asian player, I guess he was already low, so it was a free kill anyway. But even if Nexa had waited like a little bit for that flash to go off, then that would be such a free kill on the Asian player. And now m0nesy made noise going into door. Oh my god, I remember watching this live. Yeah. Unlucky. I'll watch that. I'll show that back so you can see Apex's POV, but so m0nesy's going to start the op towards heaven again. And remember how I said this secures their buy for the next 2 rounds? Look at G2's money right now. If they hadn't saved those 2 rifles that last round, G2 would be in a very, very weird round right now. They wouldn't have a ton of util, or they'd have some SMGs or whatever. Yes, they have a low-ish util right now, but considering the starting util you throw by default, and they have an op and 4 rifles, that save was massive. And remember what I was talking about with the A pops? When you're popping A, you want to pop A from kind of in hut. That's what he's looking for here. So if Vitality were going to go for an A pop, he gets essentially a free entry. And again, if you know this stuff, it's not super crazy. It's pretty easy to do. It's pretty consistent. You just have to have teammates around you who know what you're doing, covering your back, etc., etc. He flashes hut, smokes door. Look where Nexa is. So now Nexa is kind of baiting m0nesy. m0nesy is just kind of, you know, playing bait. Like Nexa may have rotated down lower, and Nexa is committing here. So once m0nesy takes a shot, he's just going to tuck, or he's playing a little aggressive. He's going a little too wide here. This is an off angle. The reason why he's going... So when I said he was going wide, it's because he was going close, right? This is harder to fall back because he was out here, right? And you have to like strafe around this wall to get back. The reason why he's playing this off angle, and the reason why this is good, this isn't overextended, is because if you're peeking from the T side, you're going to be aiming at here, right? You're going to be trying to pre-aim this angle. So m0nesy's a little wide, trying to catch out any Ts that would be trying to pre-aim, the most common op angle. So this is good. I don't know why Vitality sped up off of this flash, especially because you know that m0nesy was towards heaven early. You can kind of assume that by the nades that he's throwing, right? He flashed hut, he smoked door. If I'm Vitality, that looks like one player that was doing it, because when the nades came out is the timing when you would flash and then instantly smoke after. So they could have assumed that there was one player heaven who would do this. And after you smoke door and A is kind of covered, this is when he would be going ramp. So Vitality kind of made a misplay here. I don't think they really picked up on that over at A. But m0nesy gets the entry. Nexa takes contact. m0nesy actually peeks back in. But Nexa gets another one. So look at the ramp hold. They had a very generic ramp hold. They just did it at the right time. And they got 3 kills with 2 players. It's great. Hunter griefs a little bit towards lower. I'll actually watch the rest of this round, but I'll watch it from Stewie's perspective, because NA. So this is an emo molly. If you're going to throw this util, by the way, throw the nade first, then the molly, because the nade will soften them up, and then the molly will do the rest, right? If you throw the molly and then the nade, they're going to run away from the molly, and the nade won't do too much damage. So this is a little bit of a wasted potential from Stewie here. So he saw the last guy on silo. The reason he goes left is so that Nico could trade the same angle that Stewie was fighting on. And he does. And this results in a round win. So m0nesy again, starting over towards heaven. Goes for the post on a hut. This is also good if your teammates throw a hut molly like this, because sometimes offers will also peek behind the molly and trying to catch anyone back silo. So m0nesy's also trying to work on that, as well as the A-pop stuff that I talked about in the last round. They throw outside smokes, he nades it. He doesn't even peek off of it, which is really, really interesting. I think he just threw it so that Nico could spot it. Again, smoke on towards door. Double up on ramp. So they're on a very similar setup now, but m0nesy is more in a committed spot, which I don't disagree with, right? They saw m0nesy opping hell last time. He smoked door from heaven, which Vitality at this level, all of the players know what a door smoke from heaven sounds like. The sound of it bouncing off the wall tells them that it was thrown from heaven, right? And last time m0nesy did that, he went J-Hall. So now he's playing a more committed spot in ramp, and Nex is playing the same exact spot. So m0nesy playing the spot might tell Vitality that they're in a different setup, but Nexa is in the same spot as last round. So this is such a good adjustment from G2. And look at Nico. He still has like all outside info, so m0nesy doesn't really feel pressured to really rotate anywhere. Yes, there's only 2 players on A. Now that the hit starts coming in, he starts rotating. A was the weakness here, so Vitality had the right idea, but it looks like they're going very slow, and Nico got a kill outside as well. Stewie doubles up, m0nesy gets 1. And that's the game. G2 have won IEM Dallas. And again, so m0nesy finished this game 25-11. It's not inconsistent what he did. Everything he did was fairly normal. He just played really good within the system that he's in, and he made a lot of really good plays with his teammates. He baited them very well. And like, yes, you can say, oh, bait or whatever, but the baits that he did helped them win the game, and they were really, really impactful. So yeah, there's the m0nesy breakdown, and I hope this gave some insight as to how you should watch a demo, trying to figure out what's going on in their head, and also how you can watch your own demos to try and figure out what you should be doing, right? If this happens over here, you should be doing this, or, you know, not everything. Don't get tunnel visioned, I guess, on your own game. Try and think of what's going on map wide, because what's going on map wide will support you within your little micro decisions. And again, I hope this gave some insight. If you guys do want to get some coaching, I do offer coaching on my m0nesy, which I'll link down below. And if you also want to see some other demo breakdowns I have, I'll go ahead and link them so you can click on them right here. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.